So let's go back to today's lesson. Today's lesson in your program, it says, visualizing the awakening world. It says awakening world, but it's supposed to say awakening world. Imaginal cell clusters. And I want to go just a little further with that title and say this is really about catch the vision of who you are. Catch the vision of who you really are. And surprisingly enough, Easter is really all about that. Easter is about catching the vision of who you really are. And the song that they just sang, let's go down by the river. Who's going to wear the crown and who's going to wear the robe? You will. Michael will. He's good for robes. The dresses are good too. You're fine with that. Exactly.
It's the tiara.
The robe, the symbol of the robe, and of course I am an ordained minister and have one and use it on ceremonial occasions. But the symbol of the robe is the seamless garment, that it has no beginning and no end, that it's whole and complete and perfect, yes? And that's also the symbol of the crown. The crown is to be the King of Kings, is to receive the light of the One, to let that happen unto you. So in our teaching, we are aware that there's a pattern of wholeness. There's a pattern of wholeness. Wholeness means whole. When we usually say whole, the words that go with whole are whole, complete, and perfect, right? Whole means whole, complete, and perfect. So there's a pattern for your being and for my being of wholeness. Wholeness is the image and likeness which we were made of. Everybody say wholeness.
Wholeness.
Wholeness is my true name. Wholeness is my true and eternal nature. Right. So now we are often in life dealing with, in the areas of health, wealth, love, and fulfillment, we're dealing with stuff, yes? But the truth is, this wholeness is who we are. And so what we're really learning is how to bring the wholeness of who we are into our expression, yes? Behold, Jesus said, behold, I have come that you should have more life and have it more abundantly. Basically, what he was saying is, I was coming so that you could have the wholeness of who you are and therefore thrill in the life that you are. Thrill in the I am that I am. Yes? Now, what we also know is throughout time, religions have had different names for this wholeness. Right? The original wholeness in the Hindu tradition is called the Atman. Hindu was followed by Buddhism, and created the Buddha consciousness, the awareness of the wholeness of the Buddha, I am awake, that wholeness revealed, right? Then you had Moses, who said, I am that I am. By what authority do I come into the world? By what authority do I free the Israelites? By what authority do I bring forth a new world? And the answer is, the burning bush says, the light, the wholeness says, tell them I am that I am. The I am gives you authority to do that. Whoa, now imagine if we took our lives and said, I am the wholeness of life, and I have the authority to step into that wholeness. That I could actually step into that wholeness completely. And then you come full circle around to the modern day mystic Joseph Campbell, who said, well, what is the real purpose of life? Ooh, this is a deep one. What is the real purpose of life? And Joseph Campbell says, to tolerate your bliss. Wouldn't it be better to get out of your suffering and out of your struggles and start working on tolerating your bliss? Whoa, but that's what the wholeness is about. That wholeness wants to be revealed. So Christ consciousness then, it went from Moses, and then Christ, and Moses was announcing the law. Moses was announcing the law. Well, this is highly relevant because later, when Jesus comes along, he says, he was a Jew. Moses was a Jew, right? Well, he thought he was an Egyptian, but he was a Jew, right? So he has to put all this together. Now Jesus comes along, he's a Jew, and he says, not only am I that I am, he says, I am the way, the life, and the truth. Ooh. Now, tolerating your bliss would be your life, yes? Tolerating your life. So this I am, that I am, is the way. No man can get unto the Father except through my own nature. I have to go myself, right? You're not going to be an awakened soul just because you sat around and did nothing. You're going to be an awakened soul because you asked, because you sought, because you knocked, because you lived your life seeking to reveal this wholeness that is the truth of who you are. And someday, and here's Ernest Holmes, the great metaphysician, said, someday you will see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality. In fact, Ernest says, here's a whole system of thinking that will help you see through the mist. These lessons are dedicated to that truth which enables us to free ourselves, from this limited idea of who we are, and wake up to this wholeness of being. Yes? So there's a pattern of wholeness within the individual. This pattern is known by many names: Christ consciousness, Buddha awareness, high self, Atman, Nafsha, Neshama. Christ consciousness is the awakened state of awareness. Christ consciousness is not a person. It's an awakened state of awareness. Whoa. Was Jesus awake? Does it appear he was in an awakened state of awareness? Right? So he came into this awakened state of awareness, and he says, this awakened state of awareness is the way that everybody gets to God. Oh, and no one can get there without going through that awakened state of awareness of your own divine self, that wholeness becoming embodied, recognized, realized in you and as you and through you. Yes? And God has intended us to use this pattern of awakened consciousness to live our lives, to live our earthly sojourns, to live at this awakened level of awareness, and to know how to choose and feel and grow and create from an awakened state of awareness. Oh. Well then, whoever told you, or wherever the idea came from, that you were a worm in consciousness and unworthy of the gifts of God, is clearly off track. That's all. Off track. What do you do when you're off track? Get yourself back on track, correct? Get back on the track, right? So here we get into this wonderful thing, because here's the fifth level. Here's the fifth level. Health is normal. Wealth, having what you want when you need it in order to live your life fully. Al Sid's wonderful little poem. The little girl can see the abundance, and if she lives in the joy of that abundance, even as a beggar, she will attract abundance. Right? So this possibility to see through the mist means that this idea of who I thought I was, or maybe who my parents told me I was, or my religion told me I was, or my experience taught me that I was not worthy, that I'm not capable, that I'm not educated enough, strong enough, beautiful enough, talented enough to have my life fulfilled. Well, all of that is incorrect. And the enemy is nobody else. There is no enemy out there. The enemy is all of those limited beliefs that you allowed into your being. And they're only your enemy because they don't reflect the truth about you. They're not the real you. It's a false image. Yes? So then the truth about you then must be this Christ, this Atman, this Buddha, this awakened awareness. If that's where you're going, if that's who you really are, then that has to be the truth about you, yes? If you're going to end up there sooner or later, that must be the truth about you, yes? Wow, that must be the truth about me, that I am the child of the Most High, given everything in the kingdom by my parentage. All of it. It's all mine. Whoa. When one day all this will be yours, the rancher said to his son, oh no, it's yours now, today, all of this. Whoa. But what happens, because health is normal, wealth is normal, love is normal. Love. I mean, Grandpa, oh my God. And it's a two-way street, right? It's like, oh my God, so much love is there when we really, really want to step into it, open to it. So we have health, wealth, love, and fulfillment is normal. You're not supposed to have a life and say, oh, I screwed it up. It was no fun. No, it's supposed to be, I loved, I lived, I enjoyed, I cherished. I had a great time in every moment. I opened in every day. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Last night, just a sidebar, last night my wife and I are sitting on the porch. It's too cold. The wind was blowing. So we went to the other side of the house. My house is like a boat. It's leeward and windward, right? We went to the other side of the house where the wind wasn't blowing. It was a cute little fountain out there. And what happened when we sat down at the cute little fountain? The finches began to come, and then the hummingbirds began to come. And there's always this life. You think, well, this is cold and not right, and you open to a new opportunity, and some other beautiful thing is right there. That's the fulfillment is there all the time. Love and purpose and fulfillment all the time, right? But there's another one. That's not very new thought. That's like, well, it's kind of like one of those writers, they're fiction writers. They write about coming into the kingdom of, when we went to Shangri-La, right? We finally went to the path and we found Shangri-La, right? No. That's just Shangri-La. Health, wealth, love, and fulfillment is just a story of Shangri-La. Do you see that? If all your life is you came and you had health, wealth, love, and fulfillment, and that was it, then that's just a nice story. Wasn't that a nice life? Wasn't that a nice live? Don't we have a nice story we can write about that? But that's not the victory. The victory is to see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality, to see things as they actually are. Oh, well, that means this thing called death is the biggest mistake in human consciousness. If I'm an immortal spiritual being, then why do I have to have these dramatic deaths all around? Anybody had any dramatic deaths in their experience? Had some dramatic deaths? Yeah. Right? Well, that's the whole story of Easter. The whole story, and you see humans do this typical thing. They look at the story of Easter and they go, oh, look, dramatic death. Easter and the whole message of Easter is not about dramatic death. The whole message of Easter is about immortal life. The whole message of Easter is about the continuity of the self, the I am that I am, forever awakening to the glory of all that I am. And there's no limit to that glory because God is infinite. Therefore, there is no limit to the glory of my own soul. Whoa. Now, that's a big idea. And God says, well, it's such a big idea that I had my buddy Jesus, my beloved child Jesus, embody the whole thing. I had him a couple weeks before he thought he was going to minister for another 50 years. He says, you know what? I can't do this anymore. I have to step through into something much more powerful to awaken my beloveds. And boy, did he make a big production. Yes? And then we take our eye off the ball, and the production is about immortal life, not about the crown of thorns and the dramatic exit. Because it was certainly a dramatic re-entry too, wasn't it? Right? Whoa. That birth, I'm walking through walls. I'm coming here to tell you that the only thing there is forgiveness. Because forgiveness is the pathway to love, and that's who you really are. Whoa. Wow. Where did we take our eye off the ball? And God says, well, let's see. I gave them electricity from the beginning. I put lightning up in the sky. And that was how many thousands of years of human evolution was lightning up in the sky before Ben said, we could probably do something with that. Thousands of years before anybody said we could probably do something with that. And here's the Easter story has been living with us for hundreds of thousands of years, and it shows up in the story of the caterpillar. Living. It's a living story. Because you notice the caterpillar, when it goes into the cocoon, who spins the cocoon? Who spins it? The caterpillar. It wraps itself in a womb to be reborn. Whoa. I'm not going to have dramatic exercise. I'm just going to wrap myself into this thing. But there's something going on all the time inside the caterpillar. And this is the wonderful story. Inside the caterpillar, what happens to the caterpillar? Inside the caterpillar are these cells. These cells are created inside the caterpillar's body that the caterpillar is constantly trying to kill these cells. Right? The biology of the caterpillar says, oh, there's some strange cells in my body, and it tries to kill them. But biologists very cleverly named these cells in a caterpillar imaginal cells. And so the first imaginal cells that show up in the caterpillar's body, the caterpillar kills. But the imaginal cells keep recreating. And pretty soon along the life of the caterpillar, more of these imaginal cells start creating themselves. And then imaginal cells, I'll just read you right out of the journal. The caterpillar's new cells are called imaginal cells. They resonate at a different frequency. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, Om. Yes? The frequency of peace, the frequency of love, the frequency of immortality, the frequency of fulfillment is a different frequency, isn't it? Right? They resonate at a different frequency. They are so totally different from the caterpillar cells that its immune system thinks they are enemies and gobbles them up. But these new imaginal cells continue to appear, more and more of them. More and more of the imaginal cells survive. And then an amazing thing happens. These little tiny imaginal cells start to clump together into friendly little groups. Say this, turn to somebody, this is a friendly little group. Turn to somebody, say, this is a friendly little group. And this is a friendly little group, this is a friendly little group. They begin to clump together as a friendly little group. Right? Whoa. And then they resonate together at the same frequency. There is a place out beyond stardust. Huh? Then they resonate together at the same frequency. And these tiny little molecules start to clump together into friends, and they resonate together at the same frequency, passing information from one to another. Then after a while, another amazing thing happens. The clumps of imaginal cells start to cluster together. And a long string of clustering and clamping imaginal cells all resonate at all frequencies, all pass information from one to the other inside the chrysalis. But the caterpillar has to surrender to these cells. And because it knows that what's really being born is its true nature, it wraps itself in a womb in order to birth this possibility. Right? And the caterpillar has to surrender itself entirely. And it becomes what they say here, the chrysalis, it'll dissolve in an organic goop. It has to change from its caterpillar nature, dissolve into complete goop, and then reveal itself as its true nature, the butterfly. Right? So that's exactly what has to happen for us. You can't birth this pattern of wholeness within you until you know that it's there. You can't simply demand that the pattern of wholeness reveal itself because you've been demanding whatever you've been demanding all along until you changed your mind and started to demand that. Yes? Right? I demand that I get married. I demand that I find a love. I demand that I get a career. I demand that I get education. I demand, my parents demand, school demands. Do you follow? You've been giving the law of life direction since you were born. Now all of a sudden you say, oh, wake me up. And it says, well, you know, you got kind of layers of stuff that's not out of your way yet. So you're going to have to work on letting that light shine in you, as you, and through you. So turn to somebody and say, there's a pattern of wholeness. There's a pattern of wholeness, and you need to awaken to that pattern, and you need to start insisting that that pattern is the truth about you. I am an immortal spiritual being, superior to my mind, to my body, and to my experience. I am that. And that awakened spiritual being that heals, uplifts, inspires, loves, laughs, experiences ecstasy and bliss is what God meant for me. You were born to have fun living, to constantly commune with the presence that's within and around you, and to grow and expand forever. Now, is there anything about that says you should suffer and die? There's nothing in the message of the cells of your true nature that believes you should suffer and die. That belief came from the race. And your only enemy is false beliefs. Not false people, false beliefs. And we are the ones who, according to our vision, must start moving in that way. And if your vision is not big enough, you can't move that way. Emerson said, "Oh man, there is no planet, sun, or star that could hold you if you but knew who you are." Whoa. So we have to get this vision of ourselves. And then we have to start applying the vision. And in a time like now, we have to start living the vision. Because in a time like now, when somebody tries to tell you that one race is better than another, or one way of being is better than another, or one religion is better than another, or one type of people is better than another, this is not the vision of God, and cannot be the vision of God, and could never be the vision of God. So we have to be the place that sees rightly. All human beings are created equal, and each one is the glory of God in potential. And every time you see hate or prejudice or fear or doubt, you must stand in that light of truth, that light of wholeness, that vision of completeness. For yourself, yes, but for all people, because this is the way of the truth. This is the truth of the imaginal cells within me, who has imagined that I am the Christ of God, that I am the Buddha awakened, that I am the place where love and light and healing and wholeness and joy and inspiration move. According to my vision shall it be done unto you. And then we tie all the way back around. You go, well, I don't know that I have a vision. Well, where there is no vision, the people will perish. Aren't you a people? So if you don't have a vision, then you have nothing to keep you alive, awake, aware, nothing to encourage those imaginal cells to connect and to communicate and to vibrate at a whole higher level. Your vision is how. Who do you think you are? And the correct answer to that question is the glory of God incarnate. Woo! Claim it. Do you see it? That's how we awaken the world. When everybody begins to know they are the glory of God incarnate, and that all things work together for good, even my small-mindedness will dissolve into nothing when I rise up to who I really am. So it's Easter time. It's time to prepare. Something must have been happening about 3 weeks out, because 2 weeks out on Palm Sunday, just a week out, he said, "I've changed my mind. We're going to do this differently. We're going to reveal this to all the people, not just 11 disciples. We're going to carry this into the world for all humanity and the earth." And there is no video cameras, and there is no computer recorders, and there is no way except to do something absolutely dramatic that would pass through time and reveal the message. And yet we got distracted by the pain and suffering of the message and didn't see the light, because the caterpillar fights off the cells because he doesn't know who it is. But when we begin to know who we are, we don't have to fight the cells that say I'm an immortal spiritual being, that say I'm beyond circumstance, that say I'm beyond death, I'm beyond disease. I am the wholeness of love and joy being revealed in the world. And believe me, as you already know, because you've done it in your own lives, when you pick that position, you tell time, sorry, you don't win anymore. You tell time, sorry, I'm not old. You tell time, I'm youthful, dynamic, and powerful and creative, and my good is just beginning. Hello. That's a new day. That's a new dawn. And that's a new possibility. And that's how we bring it into the world. You can't tell people about some utopia down the road. You've got to step into the utopia. You've got to step into the bliss of your own life right now and squeeze the joy out of every moment. Because you know what? You deserve it. You're the beloved of the Most High. And when you catch that vision of yourself and begin to imagine what you must really be, every day, in every way, you will be calling yourself higher. You'll be knocking on the doors of possibility. And when you ask, it shall be answered. When you seek, you shall find. And when you knock, it shall be opened unto you. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're facing the most difficult challenge you've ever faced, or you're looking at the possibility of stepping into the grandeur of your true and immortal nature, this I know for sure. Everything's going to work out just fine. And I invite you to think on these things as together we explore the possibilities. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Bless you. Thank you. Thank you. So we will go into spiritual mind treatment on this. What we love in spiritual mind treatment is just affirmative prayer. But there's really, we've just been reviewing this in the Troward class, which we have one more. Those students, congratulations. You've got, just tomorrow you finish the class. Another 8-week class. You got another certificate under your belt. Good for you. But what we've really been talking about in the Troward class is the power comes from your relationship with the divine. So in Dr. Holmes' spiritual mind treatment, these steps of prayer movement, he says the first thing is you have to recognize God as everything. Step one is to recognize God is everything. There's nothing, God's the stars, the suns, the moons, the potentials. God is everything. Everything that ever was, ever will be, ever could be. That's God. And since God is everything that ever was, the second step is what I am must be what it is. And all of the power in our spiritual life comes from that dance. Identifying yourself with your true and eternal nature. Yes? So that's all we really do. And then we pray just as anybody else would. Pray affirmatively for whatever it is you're seeking in your life. Yes? And that's how it works. And then, of course, the problem with most of us is worry and fear and doubt get in the way. Yes? So, and here's a good little reminder. Worry and fear and doubt are backwards prayers. Right? So if you find yourself praying backwards, stop and pray forward again. Yes? Here we go. So let's turn our attention to that which is the one life, the one presence, and the one power. One love, one joy, one everywhere present Spirit. It's on the front porch, it's on the back porch. It's in the birds and the bees and the snakes and the lizards and the dogs and the cats and the winds and the minerals. It's in every sweet smell you've ever smelled. It's in the food. It's in the earth. It's thriving everywhere. Life, thriving everywhere. And I am what that life is. And so I declare and affirm that life is thriving in me. It's opening to new possibilities. It's claiming deeper love. It's reaching into the glory of my own nature and my unity of life with all life, revealing to me perfect harmony, perfect love, perfect freedom, perfect synchronicity, and perfect relationships of all kinds. And for this love moving in me and through me and as me, for this imaginal cell of myself as the awakened Buddha, as the Christ embodied, for this seed planted in me as the truth of me, and therefore the truth of all people, and therefore the glory of humanity and the earth, for this great glory moving in me and as me and through me in fantastic new ways this week, I give deep and profound thanks. And that I may experience the glory of my own awakening, that I do it in God, as God, and with God, for this intimacy, for this ecstasy, and for this love, I give deep and profound thanks. And I let go, and let God, and allow it to be, as together we declare, and so it is.